a secret to keep because I'm so excited for them and I'm so proud of them. And I'm also just, it's not lost on me what it means to our industry, right? So this young lady has burst onto the scene really a couple of years ago. She made the move from junior dragsters, doing it the right way, went from junior dragsters into top dragster, got her feet wet in top alcohol dragster, actually won a divisional event, a regional race at Norwalk Raceway, Summit Raceway Park in Norwalk, Ohio. Then turned her focus to door slammer racing, dived into the shark-infested waters of PDRA Pro Outlaw 632, along with her father and grandfather, Mark and Joe. This young lady really did a fantastic job in 2021 racing Pro Outlaw 632 in a car that would clearly set her up for what she announced last Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I've said that a handful of times today, not quite a drinking game, but definitely trending that direction. It's my word of the week. Let's give it up for Camrie Caruso. Yay!
Hi, guys.
What's up, Camrie?
Hey, Camrie, how are you?
Nothing. Good, how are you?
What's up? Oh, nothing.
We talked about this. I think that's going to serve her very well in pro stock because you're just calm, cool, and collected at all times.
She doesn't really get revved up unless they double charge her dad for checking into a hotel. Then she gets revved up and yanks computers out of people's hands.
She leaves all that to her dad as far as just getting fired up about everything, right?
Well, for the uninitiated, or unless you've been living under a rock, you likely know that Camrie Caruso and family have announced their intentions to compete full time on the Camping World NHRA Drag Racing Series. In the Camping World NHRA Drag Racing Series Pro Stock Division. To the best of our knowledge, and I did attempt to confirm this with both Phil Burgess from National Dragster and Brian Loans from NHRA and Fox, that you are the second ever full-time female driver in Pro Stock history. An incredible thing, a fresh face, talented young lady that I think has an endless amount ahead of you. Did you ever think, Camrie, thinking of all that has happened, and a lot's happened in a short amount of time, I mean, did you ever think that you would find yourself in that moment Friday morning about 11 o'clock sitting next to Brian Loans, a very well-known face in our industry, being announced as a full-time pro stock driver next season?
I've always dreamed of it, but I didn't really know if it was going to become a reality of how it has. And even when Dad and Papa brought the idea to me, I was like, are you crazy? Like, I don't know that that's possible. So it's definitely been interesting.
But here it is, right? I mean, so a lot of the details have started to circulate, but I want you to kind of take us through some of this. Like, first and foremost, I think it's interesting because almost everybody that's arrived in pro stock in recent history has arrived by renting a seat, right? I mean, you've either joined the KB Racing camp, you've joined the Elite Motorsports camp. By and large, that's been the way you did it. That's how you got to the show. Here in 2022, when you guys join the mix, you'll be doing it with your own partnership engine program with Titan Racing Engines out of Denver, North Carolina. I almost said Colorado again. That team, the former Gray Motorsports outfit that powered Tanner Gray to a world championship. You guys are fielding your own team. How excited and proud of that are you? Because I mean, I'm sure that there's maybe there was a part of you, I don't know, that wanted to do one of these fly in and drive deals. But I'm sure you're for your dad and for your grandpa, Papa Joe. I mean, it's got to be fantastic to know, like, hey, no, we're doing this on our own.
So honestly, I didn't really want to do the fly in and drive thing. That's awesome. I would, obviously, if it was given, but I never really wanted to. I kind of wanted to be able to do it our own way and not really have to answer to anybody on how we do things and why we're doing things. That's not to say that there's anything wrong with the fly in and drive. That works for a lot of people, but I wanted to continue to do it with my dad and grandpa our way and not really have anybody have a say on how that works. So I'm excited. I think it's a great opportunity. And I think Papa is probably the most excited of us all.
When you think about it, I mean, we talked about how fiercely competitive Pro Modified has become. And I still believe is for fast door slammer, like for Pro Mod, NHRA Pro Mod is in a league of its own. But for most, even a lot of the people that are competing in Pro Mod would tell you that if they had their druthers, they'd be racing Pro Stock. I mean, it's a driver's category. The cars are extremely. What are you doing?
There's a bug.
You are a mess,
There's a
young
huge
lady.
bug, and I can't stand bugs.
How big of a bug?
And it's like gonna go in my backpack.
Are you doing homework? You've been shopping.
No,
You've
I
been
was
to
working.
Target. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Working. How excited are you
the
to
bug's taken care of?
How proud of you, or how excited are you for your dad and for your grandpa? Because I talked to them last week, and thank you guys. We went out to dinner. We had a big old time last Thursday night. But I'm just curious, like, that's a lifelong dream. Anybody who's ever drag raced, Mike and I talk about this all the time, Carpenter and I, that like, if you've ever dreamt about drag racing, you've likely dreamt about going pro stock racing. I mean, they've got to be beside themselves.
Honestly, like, since I was little, I've always wanted a pro mod race. Like, that was always the goal. And then when Dad and Papa got the new pro mod car, I was like, oh, this is my chance. Yeah, that did not go well. They were like, you're not getting in that car, so try again. And that's kind of where the pro stock came about. And I know that they've wanted it to have a pro stock team forever. So I'm just extremely excited for them and proud of them that all their hard work has paid off and they get to have it.
It's fantastic. I'm curious, your role in this shouldn't be overlooked, right? I mean, you have done a great job keeping your team in front of the world, right? I mean, you guys dived in right amidst the global pandemic during COVID. We had quarantine with the Carusos, you and your dad bringing on guests. You guys were going live all the time, like not every day, but damn near every week. And we all, I think, kind of got to know you. How much do you think that effort, because you hear me preach about this all the time on this show, like, you can't wait for Fox to interview you. You can't wait for ESPN. I mean, the likelihood of them ringing your door and like shining a light on you or putting you on SportsCenter, I mean, it's not at all likely, actually. I mean, it's not going to happen. And in 2021, we're all carrying around like a 4K camera in our pocket. I'm curious, I mean, how much do you think your guys' willingness, you and your dad collectively, to be out, to put yourselves out there, to have these conversations publicly, to do interviews and stay in front of the camera, how much do you think that's contributed to this moment you're in right now?
Honestly, I think it's helped a whole lot. Dad is definitely the one to pat on the back for the show idea. When he brought it to me, I was like, dude, you're crazy. Like, nobody's going to listen. But throughout the duration of it, it's brought us so many new friendships, relationships with companies. So honestly, I think it makes a world of difference. As in, if we didn't do it, we probably wouldn't have the partnerships we have or the support that we have. So it's.
Do you hear that from your sponsors? I mean, when you think about Right Trailers and the other brands that you've been associated with, NGK, I mean, is that Powerbuilt Tools? Does that stuff resonate with them? I mean, because this is something, there's a lot of young racers such as yourself and kind of young aspiring racers and up and comers that watch this show every week. And I'm just curious, I mean, do you get positive feedback from those brands?
So they honestly require you to be active on social media and do different things. I know from experience with NGK, they'll email and say, hey, do this, this, and this, and send us the videos. So they have definitely noticed it, and they have made comments, and they're like, well, are you going to continue? Like, they're definitely intrigued by it. So it helps a lot, I think, because it sets you apart. You're not just sitting there doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. And that's what they want.
I mean, and I honestly, when I look at the sport right now and I look at like the world, every company is faced with, like, if you're in business in 2021, you're in show business, right? I mean, marketing, trying to stick out in this world is very difficult. It requires a focused effort. It requires a concentrated effort. You can't just expect it to happen. Yes, there are exceptions to the rules, but I mean, you have to be promoting yourself. You have to be trying to find a way to cut through. And you've got a lot of holes to fill. Like we always talk in our business about all the buckets that have to be filled. When we first launched our business, all we had to worry about was Drag Illustrated, the magazine. Like, okay, we got to make sure there's something on the pages, on every page of this magazine this month. Well, the next thing we know, we've got a daily updated website, and that takes tons of content. It's hard to fill that bucket. Then you're trying to fill your Facebook bucket and your Instagram bucket and your TikTok bucket, your podcast bucket, your email newsletter bucket. And I think a lot of these companies are looking for people like you that can help them with the responsibility that is creating all this content. And if you're going racing every weekend and they can be involved and you can provide them videos or make posts or whatever you come up with, I think it's a really valuable thing. I mean, it's more than just selling parts or gaining notoriety for them or helping them build their brand. I mean, hey, they're trying to fill holes. They've got those same buckets to fill, and people like Camrie Caruso can help them fill it.
See, I love being able, with Right Trailers, perfect example. I help them with all of that, as well as our stuff, and now with Titan Racing Engines. And I'm excited because there's so many different ways that you can fill all of the buckets, like you're saying, especially being at a racetrack every other week or every week. There's so many interesting people that a lot of the huge media doesn't even realize. Like, you guys do a really good job at showing everybody, but there's a lot of them that you'll see the same people every other week. So I think it's important to be different and showcase different stories than everybody else's too.
I agree 100%. So take us through real quick. Let's talk a little bit hardcore about racing. From what I understand, the Caruso family racing has acquired all of Alex Laughlin's former Pro Stock operation, primarily Jerry Haas late model Pro Stock Camaro. From what I understand, that car is already on its way, already arrived at Jerry Haas's shop in Fenton, Missouri, and will be updated, outfitted with like a 2021, like a late model front end. So it'll look like many of the other cars in the class. You'll be going up there, I'm sure, before long to get fitted. When do you guys anticipate, starting to make some of your shakedown runs?
So, like you said, we've already picked up the car. It is actually at Jerry Haas's already. It was there a couple days ago, I think. Me and Dad will fly out tomorrow morning to go get fitted and everything. And it's just a quick day trip. We'll be back in hometown by, I think, 10:30 at night. We should have the car a few weeks after that. Probably January, before we actually go to a racetrack and make sure everything works correctly.
Right. I mean, do you have any, like, being that you've been racing in Pro Outlaw 632 within the PDRA all throughout 2021, racing a car with a bigger engine, but a similar performance, low 420s in the 8th mile, a real deal hot rod with a Liberty shifter. I mean, obviously a Lenco in that car, but a Liberty shifter. Are you feeling, I mean, do you have any concerns, or is there anything that's weighing on you at all as far as like jumping behind the wheel of a 500-inch Pro Stock car and dropping the bomb on it?
Honestly, I feel like this year has really prepared me how to drive one. Obviously, I'm super nervous to compete against anybody in the Pro Stock class. They're all really good on the tree, it seems like, and everybody does a great job. So I'm nervous to line up against everybody who's been doing it obviously longer than I have. But I think that my 632 car really prepared me on how to drive for Pro Stock.
I think so too. And I honestly think that everything that you've done to get ready for this moment, it's kind of interesting because a lot of times the things that you hear from new drivers is like they aren't quite ready for the sense of speed, or you hear, heard Matt Hagan talk about it a few weeks ago on the show, that you're behind the car, the car is way ahead of you. And I think it's interesting that you've already raced top alcohol dragster with like Randy Meyer. You've been like low 5s at 280 in the quarter mile. One of those times being at Orlando Speed World Dragway, which is completely bonkers to go that fast there. It's insane to me, but I do think that you guys have gone through the proper steps to be prepared for this moment. And I got to tell you, Camrie, we're just excited to see it all unfold.
I'm honestly super excited for it, and you guys have played a huge part in helping us get to where we're at. So definitely thankful for that. But I don't think I'll be behind the car just because of the 632 stuff. If I hadn't been in 632, I think there would have been a good chance that I probably would be behind the car. But Dad always says, he's like, focus on the big picture. Because I was like, after the second race, I was like, we need nitrous. I can't do this anymore. Like, this is terrible. I'm sick of being slow. Like, I was all mad. I was like, Papa, we need to make this a nitrous car. I'm done being slow. And Dad's like, focus on the big picture, dude. Like, calm down.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's one of those things where you're going to earn your stripes, and I mean, it's a whole thing, like racing these cars, leaving with a clutch. I mean, it's a different deal, it's a different animal. The expectations on drivers in Pro Stock, I believe, is greater than any other category in drag racing.
I'll be completely honest, like you've said a few times, I've been in a bunch of cars, bunch of top dragsters, bunch of super comp cars, I was in 2 different alcohol cars with Randy in my Pro 632 car. I've had my fair share of race cars that I've driven, and I always made fun of Dad. I was like, oh, I can drive your pro mod better than you, just like joking with him. You don't realize how different a door car is to a dragster until you're actually in one. So I'm definitely thankful for the chance to get used to it before pro stock.
Well, I think you have, and like I said, Camrie, we're super excited for you. We can't wait to see how this whole deal goes. We appreciate you taking some time with us on a Wednesday afternoon. It was great to chat with you last night. We had a lot of fun talking with Nate and your dad about the PDRA race. Well wishes. Be careful. Stay out of trouble. Tell Grandpa and Pops hi, and we'll be talking to you really soon. Thank you, seriously, for being here with us.
Thank you, guys. Look forward to talking to you soon.
Take care, Camrie.